It's time to talk about the O drug, Ozempic. Search Ozempic.com. Go away, little blurb. Oh, it's part of the website. This is my Ozempic era. The GLP-1, proven to lower blood sugar, lowers the risk of worsening kidney disease. It may also help you lose weight. This is definitely the use case that I've heard about the most often in recent news. What is Ozempic? Copyright? ? Hold on. An injectable prescription medicine to be used along with diet and exercise to improve blood sugar in adults with type 2 diabetes. It can also be used to reduce the risk of major cardiovascular events, like a heart attack or stroke. It can also be used to reduce the risk of kidney disease, worsening, or kidney failure. What is blood sugar though? Glucose in adults. People are always talking about blood sugar, but I have no idea what it is. What is blood sugar? Search Medline Plus. Blood glucose, also called blood sugar, the main sugar found in your blood, your body's primary source of energy, comes from the food you eat. Your body breaks down food into glucose. When your blood glucose goes up, it signals your pancreas to release insulin. Insulin is a hormone that helps the glucose get into your cells to be used for energy. What is diabetes? A disease in which your blood glucose levels are too high. When you have diabetes, your body doesn't make enough insulin. Insulin is a hormone that helps the glucose get into your cells to be used for energy. Okay, so insulin is a hormone. Sorry, my brain is a little bit slow this morning. When you have diabetes, your body doesn't make enough insulin. The glucose can't get into your cells to be used for energy. Too much glucose stays in your blood and doesn't reach your cells. Over time, having too much glucose in your blood can cause serious health problems. So it looks like your pancreas is the one releasing the insulin. Let's look at the pancreas because I have no idea what it does. Pancreas explained. Search Better Health Channel. This is a little bit too much reading for me right now. Let's watch a video. The role and anatomy of the pancreas. Important organ in the digestive system, located right behind your stomach and next to your small intestine. There's the head, the body, and the tail of the pancreas, and it serves two main functions, endocrine and exocrine. Pancreas produces chemicals like insulin, glucagon, and some other ones. The exocrine part of the pancreas also produces enzymes like amylase, or protease, or lipase. These enzymes are wrapped in little protective layers that when they enter the duodenum, the little protective layers evaporate so that they can start working on your food. They become active in the bile. So the little bile parts break apart the fat so the lipase enzymes can get to work on them. All of these things contribute to a healthy digestive system. Consequences of an unwell pancreas: diarrhea, bloating, flatulence, lots of other things. Risk factors that contribute to a poor pancreas: lots of things. All the main ones. Keep your pancreas healthy. Cool. Let's look at this one. Johns Hopkins Medicine. The digestive process. What is the role of your pancreas in digestion? Here's some stuff we learned about in the video. Pancreatic hormones help regulate your blood sugar levels, appetite, stomach acid, and tell your stomach when to empty. What does that mean, tell your stomach when to empty? Here's some more deets on the enzymes that your pancreas creates. Lipase breaks down the fat in your food. If you don't have enough lipase, your body will have trouble absorbing fat. You'll get diarrhea. Protease helps to break down proteins in your diet. If you don't have protease to break down proteins, they can sometimes cause an allergic reaction in people. Amylase breaks down starches. Can also get diarrhea from undigested carbohydrates. Pancreas also produces hormones, and these hormones are not released into the digestive system like the enzymes, but they are released into your blood. These hormones are things like insulin, glucagon, and gastrin-amylin. And this is the one we are interested in though. Insulin helps your body use sugar for energy. This is what we read earlier. Your blood sugar, without insulin, your sugar levels will rise and you will develop diabetes. Bad news bears. Interesting. Hold on. So if you don't have enough insulin and you eat a meal high in carbohydrates, your blood sugar can go up and cause symptoms like hunger and weight loss. I feel like that's going to be relevant later on. But over a long term, it can cause heart and kidney disease. Okay, these are explaining it fairly well, but I feel like I'm not getting a really broad enough picture of how these things work together. Like insulin and diabetes, how are they related? How is insulin related to diabetes? Better Health Channel. So just like we learned before, someone with diabetes can't produce insulin on their own, or they begin to produce insulin less efficiently, resulting in blood glucose levels that are too high. Over time, high blood glucose levels can damage your eyes, kidneys, and nerves, also cause other bad news bears problems. An estimated 300 Australians develop diabetes every day. Whoa, is this an Australian website? Yikes. So there's type 1 diabetes. This is when your pancreas stops developing insulin altogether. And with no insulin, the glucose can't get into your muscles for energy. Instead, the glucose just rises and rises and rises and makes the person extremely unwell. Type 1 is life-threatening. People with type 1 need an insulin injection for the rest of their lives. Yikes. Often occurs in children and people under 30 years of age. Whoa. However, it can occur at any age. It is not caused by lifestyle factors. Its exact cause is not known, but research shows that something in the environment can trigger it in a person who has a genetic risk. Yikes. So it's like a little sleeper cell. Anybody could have it. It looks like it's caused by the body's immune system attacking itself. Most people with type 1 do not have a family member with type 1. Wild. Okay, type 2. Type 2 is when the pancreas is still making insulin, but not enough. And that insulin it does make doesn't work as well as it should. Half of the people with type 2 diabetes do not know they have type 2 because they have no symptoms. That's crazy. Type 2 is considered a lifestyle condition because being overweight or not doing enough physical activity increases the risk of developing type 2. When you are first diagnosed, many people with type 2 can manage their condition with a healthy diet and increased physical activity. What? What? How does physical activity and diet change the level of insulin or glucose or whatever? How is glucose affected by the level of physical activity you're doing? If you have type 2, there's a 50% chance that you're going to need insulin injections at some point. Other types of diabetes include gestational diabetes. This is when pregnant women randomly get diabetes just while they're pregnant and then don't have it anymore after they give birth. There are 5 different types of insulin, ranging from rapid to long-acting. Rapid acting insulin, short acting, intermediate acting, long acting, mixed. Different ways to inject insulin include syringes, pens, pumps. The effectiveness of the injection depends on the site or where it is going. Is it going into the muscle or directly into the blood? It depends on the effectiveness, the absorption rate varies depending on where it is injected in the body. I guess the abdomen is absorbed the fastest by most people. If you overuse the same injection site, that will slow down the insulin absorption. So you can't just keep injecting it into the same spot every time. That sucks. Wild. Okay, let's go back to diet and exercise. I'm confused. Why would physical activity help with diabetes? What is it about staying active or moving or getting your heart rate up or whatever that is helping with the glucose levels in your blood? Why is type 2 manageable with exercise/healthy diet? National NIH.gov. The essential role of exercise in management of type 2 diabetes. High-intensity interval training is also effective and has the added benefit of being very time efficient. Exercise is an essential component of all diabetes and obesity prevention and lifestyle intervention programs. Why though? Of all the treatments options available, including new medications and bariatric surgery, exercise as a part of a lifestyle approach is a strategy that meets the majority of the criteria. I'm not seeing anything about why it would be helpful though. What is exercise doing to the glucose levels in your blood? Let's see, benefits of exercise for specific metabolic tissues. Let's see, within 5 years of discovery of insulin by these guys in 1921, the first report of exercise-induced improvements in insulin action was published, though the specific cellular and molecular mechanisms that underpin these effects remains unknown. Was that just in 1921 it's unknown, or it's still unknown? It seems unlikely that it would still be unknown, right? Exercise enhances skeletal muscle glucose uptake using both insulin-dependent and insulin-independent mechanisms. So the glucose is being sucked up by your skeletal muscles? Acute bouts of exercise can also temporarily enhance glucose uptake by the skeletal muscles. So for some reason, exercising can help your muscles to absorb glucose without insulin? Is that kind of what they're saying? Aerobic training has been shown to increase skeletal muscle mitochondrial context, blah blah blah, resulting in dramatic improvements in glucose and fatty acid oxidation. Increased expression of proteins involved in insulin signaling. Okay, I think that's probably enough about how diabetes works. Let's head back to the beginning where we started. Ozempic.com. Let's look around a bit more now that we have a better context for what diabetes actually is. Ozempic is proven to lower blood sugar and A1C. Blood sugar is just a fancy word for glucose, right? Okay, along with diet and exercise to improve blood sugar. So people with type 1 are already taking an injection, just like this. So is this just another type of insulin injection for people with type 1? No, it's for people with type 2. So if you weren't taking an injection in type 2, but you wanna. Okay, so This injection, along with diet and exercise, is there to improve blood sugar or glucose in adults with type 2. But how is it doing that? Is it just insulin? It can't be just insulin, right? Because that would just be an insulin shot. Okay, I don't know if I want to get too into the weeds about what it actually is though, because I feel like that's not great for me. The thing about Ozempic is that it's very popular in the news right now because of this right here. Ozempic may also help you lose weight, although it's not a weight loss drug, according to Ozempic. Let's look into that because I think that's like the hot button, hot topic issue right now. How does Ozempic help weight loss? University of Illinois. The active drug in Ozempic is called glucagon, like peptide 1. Oh, so that's GLP is glucagon like peptide 1, GLP-1. Was there not glucagon in the digestive, in the pancreas? Glucagon, a hormone that your pancreas produces. So in a normal meal, you consume it, your pancreas releases glucagon, and it stimulates insulin secretion, which is why it's helpful for type 2, but it also acts in your brain to terminate food intake or to signal satiety. So I'm assuming if you have a meal, your body starts to produce the hormones to digest the meal, and then your body's like, okay, that's enough food, we're done. Because of those hormones that your pancreas produced, and that's why it's signaling to your brain that you don't need any more food. So these drugs can be life-saving for people with type 2 diabetes who have severe obesity. They work really well in these conditions. They are not necessarily intended for just losing a few pounds. So if you got 10 extra pounds that you've been looking to shed, Ozempic is not a good idea for you, is what this person is saying. Also of note that there is a shortage of these drugs. Be wary of online providers or companies that are trying to sell you compounds like semaglutide. I wonder if we could find someone who's just selling semaglutides. Semaglutide for sale. Amazon Pharmacy. Wegovy. I think this was the other form, the one that they mentioned. Ozempic and Wegovy, yeah. Semaglutide for weight loss. Buying a semaglutide online, here's what to know. NPR. Okay, so I would like to look at this from like a fairly balanced perspective. Like I know there are a lot of people who are pretty excited about this drug, but I know there's also a lot of people who are not excited about this drug. So let's see if I can find different perspectives on Ozempic as a whole. Let's start with the pro perspective. Why Ozempic is good for weight loss. University of California. Ozempic for weight loss. Does it work and what do experts recommend? About 42% of American adults are obese. Ozempic is a weekly injection, helps lower your blood sugar by helping the pancreas make more insulin. That's not what I heard. It is not approved for weight loss, but some physicians prescribe it to be used for weight loss. That seems a little shady. The effects of Ozempic can be similar to the effect of bariatric surgery, which I suppose is if you need bariatric surgery, it's probably nice to not have someone cut you open. It is designed to be taken long term because they're using it to treat diabetes, and diabetes is usually considered a long-term thing. It's interesting that Ozempic is not approved for weight loss, but Wegovy is, and it's basically the same thing. The difference is that Ozempic has a smaller dose of the semaglutide than Wegovy. Here's something very interesting. It's important to note that if you start taking either of these weight loss drugs, either of these semaglutide drugs, your body will get used to it and establish a new normal, which can cause your weight to just plateau. Research shows that if you stop taking Ozempic, it's likely that you will gain back the weight you lost. So if you want to keep the weight off using Ozempic, you have to keep taking injections. Keep injecting yourself. It can be helpful for people to lose weight who are at risk for other serious health conditions like heart problems and the like. Like they said before, it can also be used as an alternative for bariatric surgery for some patients who are obese. They keep saying obese. What the heck does that even mean? Like overweightness. Is there a scale? Can you measure it? Is a 6'4" person comparable to a 5'1" person? What does it even mean to be obese? Is there a standard definition for what it means to be obese? NIH. What are overweight and obesity? Should this not be what is? Confused. These are common conditions in the US, defined by the increase in size and amount of fat cells in the body, caused by many factors including behaviors like eating patterns, lack of sleep, physical activity, some medicines, genetics, or family history. Chronic condition raises the risk for heart disease, the leading cause of death in the US. How are you measuring that, I want to know? Healthcare providers use a body mass index, BMI, to screen for overweight and obesity in adults. BMI is a measure of body fat based on height and weight and is defined as the body mass divided by the square of the body height. This is something that my wife really dislikes. She hates the BMI measure because it's like extremely outdated. I think it was like come up with, like a long time ago, they came up with a BMI, and it's like an extremely outdated metric for calculating like how overweight someone is or how healthy they are based on like their height and weight. Maybe I should look into this, like the argument about why, because my wife is definitely pro the health at every size argument, and I'm curious to know like what that health at every size argument is kind of arguing for. What are the points they make? I'm not really sure how to phrase this though. Is there an argument for why obesity isn't linked to diabetes? Science.org. A lighter burden. Obesity doesn't always mean ill health. So apparently there was some study where they made these mice, the world's fattest mice, the equivalent of 600 pounds in humans, genetically engineered mouse that was overproducing the hormone adiponectin, just producing fat cells like crazy. The mice ate constantly and became obese, but unlike other leptin deficient mice, they had healthy cholesterol and blood glucose levels and didn't develop metabolic illnesses like type 2 diabetes. They lived a normal lifespan even though they were super overweight. The weight left them so off balance that they often flipped over and got stuck, causing dehydration and death. Jesus Christ, did they not just like flip them back over? You just let the poor little mice lay there on the backs so long that they dehydrated and starved to death? I guess they probably didn't starve to death. This person, Scherer Luz? Oh no, this is two different people. Scherer and Luz are arguing that you can be obese but also healthy, which seems counterintuitive, but let's look into why they're saying this. There are subtypes of obesity. They're not saying, so they do agree that there is a clear correlation between gaining weight and increased risk of type 2 diabetes, and there are other associated health problems that go beyond metabolic abnormalities, wear and tear on joints, cancers. However, they feel like just hammering people with the advice to lose weight is misguided. There's lots of people in the obese category who live long, healthy lives and don't have any signs of disease. So these people agree that obesity and ill health can and often do go together, but the fat itself is not the major player in disease. There are lots of other things that go along with it, like poverty, discrimination, access to healthy foods. A lot of the time, people who are obese, who don't have metabolic dysfunction, are often better educated and wealthier than those with obesity-associated health problems. He's saying that we need to make the case that just pressuring people to lose weight to get more healthy is not really the solution. I've often worked with so many people who've gone through this cycle of losing and regaining and losing and regaining weight. This is like the yo-yo dieting that you always hear about, where people lose weight on the diet and then just gain it right back because they didn't change anything about their life. It creates mental torment, it affects their relationships, it affects their social lives, it affects everything. Here he's got like a little diagram of the differences between fats, like visceral fat that is all contained in like one area, and fat deposits that are kind of like spread throughout the body, where I think a lot of times people who are in this category just want to lose weight just to get slimmer, when these are the people that are maybe more unhealthy and have higher risks of developing diseases. So this is like the percentages of people who are, the light yellow is the metabolically healthy people, and the dark one is unhealthy people. So at a normal weights, 80% are metabolically healthy and 20% are not. And then at 42% of obese people have metabolically healthy and 58% are metabolically unhealthy, which is a surprisingly large amount of people who are metabolically healthy and also considered obese. Although that's only for US women. It's much lower for US men. Also significantly lower for UK women. So all of this is nice to say, but it's unclear as to who is going to be metabolically healthy and who will be metabolically unhealthy when they're at that larger size. So it's just not clear who is going to have like the favorable fortunate genetics and who is not. The no agreed definition of MHO, I think MHO is metabolically healthy obese, metabolically healthy obesity. Okay, so I've been distracted. Okay, so back to Ozempic for weight loss. So this was kind of like meant to be a pro Ozempic argument. I'm not sure that it was really that favorable for Ozempic. Let's look at the cons of Ozempic. Why you shouldn't use Ozempic for weight loss. There's a lot of sources here, and very few of them seem like they're going to be credible. I don't know, Baptist Health, Surrey Physio, Within Health. I'm not sure what these articles are or who is publishing them. Let's try this one. School of Public Health. Considering taking a weight loss drug like Ozempic, potential risks and benefits. So benefits, It will maybe help you lose weight. It might reduce your chronic disease risk factors, quality of life, emotional well-being, sense of achievement. What about the risks, though? Gastrointestinal symptoms. Nausea, diarrhea, commonly reported. Most gastrointestinal symptoms were mild to moderate in severity and resolved for most people without the need to stop participating in the study. So it sounds like it would be a bummer, but it's not the end of the world. You might feel fatigued. Another common side effect. You might be among the minority who can't tolerate it. It might be difficult to access. There are shortages continuing through 2024. Pharmacists are instructed to give preference to people with type 2 diabetes who are seeking the medication. Yeah, like, no duh. It's like, why on earth are we giving it to the people who want it for weight loss when there's a shortage and people with type 2 need it? Like, actually need it. You might not always get clear information from vested interests. Some journalists have raised conflict of interest concerns about the relationship between some obesity researchers and the manufacturer. Let's look into this. Orchestrated PR campaign. How skinny jab drug firms sought to reshape obesity debates. Oh no, the drama. So this guy went on the Today program and was talking about how great Ozempic is, it seems like. But what they didn't say was that is the president of an obesity organization, which is funded by the manufacturer. He was also a previous advisor to the Danish drug maker, and he's sitting on the UK advisory board. He has some pretty clear financial links to the pharmaceutical companies, which is maybe not the end of the world, but if you go on live TV and you're like, this drug is amazing. I don't know, you could compare it to like someone going on live TV and saying like, buy my product, it's amazing. But when it's a drug, a pharmaceutical drug, it starts to feel a little fishy. Maybe not the best practice to just casually promote something that is going to affect people's health. Okay, let's do like success stories and non-success stories about people who have taken Ozempic in the past or are currently taking Ozempic. Let's start with success stories. Ozempic, success stories. NBC News, what it's like to stay on Ozempic for years. Let's see if this person who's been on it for years like plateaus, like their weight like goes down and then stops getting better. So this woman, Barbie Jackson, started taking it in 4 years ago, 2021. She is using it to manage her type 2 diabetes, like subbing out pasta for lean proteins and cutting out sweetened iced coffees from her diet. People are taking it just to get skinny, and that's not true. She said, you have to do the work, and people don't realize that. I feel like that sounds fishy, because why are you not getting skinny if you're just doing the work? NBC News identified 7 people who have been on Ozempic for between 1.5 to 2 years, and all of them agreed it's not just a fast way to get healthy, although it has helped them lose a few pounds and lower their blood sugar levels. This woman lost 180 pounds while taking Ozempic. This person, Jackson Williams, says she lost 180 pounds because she was taking Ozempic and working out, combination. She used to weigh more than 400 pounds and use an oxygen mask. So I feel like for people like this where they weigh like a very large amount, it could be helpful because it's hard to work out when you're that heavy. It's hard to just start like actually moving in the first place. So if you can get something that will like start you on that process, maybe it could be helpful. Healthy eating got easier for many people. So a lot of people are saying that they feel like the Ozempic will like help them not eliminate the urge for mindless eating. Like they don't feel like they need to just get some fast food or microwave something because they can control their snacking and like they just aren't as hungry, I guess. Challenges. Like many drugs, the effects don't last after patients go off them, so people tend to regain most of the weight they lost if they stop taking the medication, which is, I feel like to me, it's a pretty big red flag. I feel like, I've said it before, but if you have to take the drug all the time to keep the weight off, it's probably better to just try and find a way to be healthy, like live a healthy lifestyle. All right, let's look at another one. Healthline. My husband and I both take Ozempic. This woman, Susan Dixon, started taking it because she was pre-diabetic, and her husband was already on Ozempic to treat, he actually had type 2 diabetes, and he lost 15 pounds. 15 pounds is not that much. This woman had tried a bunch of Weight Watchers programs, which brought her short-term success, yet because she's yo-yo dieting, Ozempic has worked the best for weight management. So these people are saying kind of the same thing, like the other people were saying. Ozempic changed their relationship with food. They weren't really interested in food. They would have a few bites of something and then just be okay. Food did not interest me, she said. The Ozempic shortage has affected the couple in different ways. So Michael used to be able to get a 90-day supply before the shortage, but now he can only get a 1-month supply, which is concerning because he actually has type 2 diabetes. The wife was not able to get any due to the shortage, and she regained 10 to 12 pounds, which is basically, how much did she lose in the first place? 14 pounds. So she regained pretty much all of it. Ozempic rebound is common. Let's look at another one. Reddit, yeah. Let's peruse some Reddit stuff. So apparently this sub is full of people complaining about the side effects of Ozempic. This person wants to hear positive stories, people who lost weight. This person lost 80 pounds. This person lost 113 pounds. This person has been running more. This person lost 35 pounds in over a little more than a year. I feel like that's quite slow. Is that not quite a slow progression of weight loss? So this person is saying like they were really struggling with like snacking, like wanting to snack all the time, and Ozempic has kind of removed that. But to me, that sounds like a trauma thing, or like a coping mechanism that people are using. Like a lot of time, food is a coping mechanism for people, right? So if you are not healthy mentally and you're using food to cope with that unhealthy mental whatever, then that's going to be a problem. So instead of taking a drug to fight that mental health problem, maybe go to therapy, or maybe do some meditation, or freaking exercise maybe. Let's see, NPR. I quit Ozempic and embraced feeling healthy over striving for thinness. This person started taking Ozempic to try and lose weight. She's a primary care doctor. She stopped taking the drug within months of starting it because it made her feel nauseous and gave her heartburn, disrupted her sleep. So she gained a lot of weight after giving birth, and so she was trying to get healthy again, and her doctor's advice was eat vegetables and regular exercise, which she just felt like was white noise kind of. She started taking Ozempic, and her experience with Ozempic made her realize that she's confusing two things. Being healthy is not always the same thing as being thin. It's kind of like we were talking about before. She had all these side effects: heartburn, nausea, throwing up, couldn't sleep. She said she felt unhealthy while trying to get to a healthy, thin size. Okay, the majority of people who start taking GLP-1 drugs end up stopping them because nearly 65% of subjects end up going off them within a year. Patients with lower income levels were also more likely to quit. Yeah, I'm sure, because it's kind of expensive, isn't it? Would it not be? I mean, like, what if you took that money and put it towards something else that is also healthy, like higher quality foods, or a gym membership, or therapy, or I don't know. I feel like I have a very strong bias against this that I didn't really realize until I'm talking about it right now. So this person stopped taking Ozempic and then started feeling better and started doing all the things that she had been doing before, like exercising, hiking. She didn't lose weight, but her blood pressure and glucose levels remained normal. She's not anti-Ozempic. Many people say that drugs help them lead healthier lives, but the narrow focus on weight misses the point. There's much more to being well than numbers on a scale. Agreed. Health is multidimensional and deeply personal. My patients decide what it means to be well with or without GLP-1 drugs. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Okay, this has kind of started us down the path of the not pro Ozempic side. Let's look at Ozempic horror stories. USA Today. Dozens sue Ozempic, saying it caused harmful side effects. Oh yikes, this guy's physician said that the benefits outweigh any risks of side effects. This poor guy had severe diarrhea and discomfort, some unbearable pain. He got yellow eyes. Oh, that sounds like jaundice. And the next thing you know, he had to have his gallbladder removed. Oh, yikes, a lot of people are having their gallbladders removed, or gastroparesis? What's that definition? Gastroparesis, a condition in which the muscles in the stomach don't move as they should for food to be digested. More than 6 lawsuits accuse these people of failing to notify patients about the side effects of their popular diabetes or weight loss drugs. Who are these people? Search. Looks like they're companies. Let me get rid of the or. Novo Nordisk, a Danish multinational pharmaceutical company. Oh, and the other one's probably the same thing, a different one. These companies are failing to notify patients of the side effects. Let's look at another one. NPR. As Ozempic use grows, so do reports of possible mental health side effects. Jenny Kent took Ozempic for 3 months and lost 12 pounds. Something else changed for her after she started taking it. Constantly being overwhelmed, crying all the time, sobbing. One of many who describes mental health problems after starting Ozempic. Oh yikes, a lot of people are having suicidal thoughts. 5 of them died. Did they die by suicide, or did they die natural causes? I feel like it's important to specify people. This person makes the point that it might be because people who are likely to take Ozempic also have underlying indications for mental health problems. They're at higher risk, and so you need to account for that when you are suggesting Ozempic to people. Or maybe he's just saying you need to account for it in the database to like get better stats. So the woman from the beginning, Jenny Kent, said after a month and a half, trouble started taking over, affecting her whole life. She says her mental health started improving after she stopped taking Ozempic. Alright, at this point you have about as much information as I do on the pros and cons of Ozempic. Should you be taking it? Should you not be taking it? It's up to you. Thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.